Hello, welcome to Homework Walkthrough Video 8.02C Independent Practice. Question 1. Circle D has a diameter of 16.4 units. What is the area? The area formula for a circle is area equals pi times radius squared, or pi times radius times radius, because radius squared means radius times radius. This question tells us what the diameter is. Diameter is all the way across the circle, but radius is just halfway across the circle. So two radiuses make a diameter. That also means if I cut my diameter in half, I get a radius. So if my diameter is 16.4, I can cut that in half, cut my diameter in half to give me my radius. What is 16.4 divided by 2? 8.2. That is my radius. So now I plug it into my formula. Pi times 8.2 squared, or pi times 8.2 times 8.2. 8.2 times 8.2 times pi. Round my answer to the nearest hundredth, which means I look at the thousandths place, and for me, my 0 will tell the 4 to round it down because 0 is closer to 0 instead of 10, making my answer 211.24. Question 2. Circle D has a diameter of 18.6 yards. What is the area of the circle? To find the area of a circle, here's our formula. Pi times r squared. Or we can also do an expanded form, pi times radius, because radius squared is the same as radius times radius. This question tells us what the diameter is. Now, a diameter, that goes all the way from one side of the circle to the other side. The radius goes from the middle to the side. So 2 radiuses would get me from one end to the other end, or a diameter. Also, if I cut my diameter in half, I will get a radius. We know the diameter of this question, but I want to know the radius. So let's cut this in half. Let's see what we get. 18.6 divided by 2, 9.3. That's our radius. Now let's plug it into our area formula. Pi times 9.3 squared, or pi times 9.3 times 9.3. So 9.3 squared is 86.49 times pi is, round my answer to the nearest hundredth. So that's the second decimal place. When I round to the hundredth, I look at the thousandths place. For me, my 6 will tell my 1 to round up because 6 is closer to 10, making my answer 271.72. space y d and superscript 2, like it says here. Express with appropriate units. Y d to the power of 2 squared yards. Question 3. A circular garden has a diameter of 13 feet. I want to buy mulch to cover the entire garden. How much mulch do I need to purchase? The area formula for a circle is area equals pi times radius squared, or if we were to rewrite that in a more expanded way, pi times radius, because radius squared is the same as radius times radius. Radius times itself twice. The diameter of a circle is a straight line that goes from the edge all the way to the other edge. The radius of a circle goes from the middle to the edge. So 2 radiuses will go from edge to edge, right? Edge to middle, middle to edge, which will give me a diameter. Also means if I take my diameter and I divide it by 2, I will get a radius. For this question, since we know the diameter, and the diameter is 13, let's try cutting that in half, because we want to know the radius. We don't want to know the diameter. What is 13 divided by 2? Oh, 6.5. This is our radius. So now let's plug that radius into our area formula. Pi times 6.5 squared, or pi times 6.5 times 6.5. 6.5 times 6.5, that's 6.5 squared, which is 42.25, times pi is, round my answer to the nearest hundredth, which is the second decimal place. When I round to the hundredth, I look at the thousandth. This 2 will tell my 3 to round down, because 2 is closer to 0 than it is to 10, making my answer 132.73. 32.73 space feet squared. It says with appropriate units. Make sure to read the whole question. Number 4. A circle has a diameter of 20 shown. What is the area? Express my answer in exact terms of pi. The area formula for a circle is area equals pi times radius squared, or area equals pi times radius times radius. Here we know the diameter. The diameter is from one edge of the circle to the other edge. The radius is from the middle to one edge. So it kind of looks like radius is half of the diameter, right? So if our diameter is 20, what's our radius? What is half of 20? 20 divided by 2. Yep, our radius would be 10. So let's plug that into our formula. Pi times 10 squared, or pi times 10 times 10. Now the question wanted us to put it in exact terms of pi, which means we're not going to times by pi. Whenever we times by pi, we have to round. And so our answer is not exact. Whenever we times by pi, our answer is not exact. So we are going to do all the steps, but we're going to stop before we times by pi. So let's try. 10 times 10 is 100. Right? Yep, 10 times itself, 100. And we just put pi right there. We don't times 100 by pi. We just type 100 pi. That's our answer. That is the exact answer. We didn't have to round. That's the exact answer. Question 5. Circle has a radius of 12.42 inches. What's the area? The area formula for a circle is area equals pi times radius squared. Or, if we write this formula in a more expanded way, area equals pi times radius. This question tells us the radius is 12.42, so let's plug that into our formula. Pi times 12.42 squared, or rewriting it in a more expanded way, pi times 12.42 times 12.42. See what we get. 12.42 times 12.42 times, so 12.42 times itself is 154.2564 times pi is, well, round my answer to the nearest hundredth, which is the second decimal point after the decimal, or the second place value after the decimal. When I round to the hundredth, I look at the thousandth place. For me, my 0 will tell my 1 to round down, because 0 is closer to 0 than it is to 10, obviously, right? Making my final answer 484.61. 484.61. Don't forget the units. This question tells us express with appropriate units, so inches squared. Otherwise, we'll get the question wrong. Question 6. A fountain in the center of a circular pool has a spray radius of 9.17. What is the area of a circular pool? To find the area of a circle, we can do area equals pi times radius squared, or if we rewrite that in a more expanded way, we get area equals pi times radius times radius. This question tells us the radius is 9.17. So let's plug that number into our equation. 9.17 squared, or rewriting it, that same equation in a more expanded way. 9.17 squared means 9.17 times itself, 9.17. So let's see what that is. 9.17 times 9.17 equals, times by pi equals, rounds to the nearest hundredth. So that's the second place value after the decimal point. When I round to the nearest hundredth, I look at the thousandth place. For me, the 3 will tell this 7 to round down, because 3 is closer to 0, making my answer 264.17. 264.17 space inches squared, expressed with appropriate units. Question 7. Circle A has a radius of 2 shown. What is the area? Express an exact value of pi. So our radius is 2. We want the exact answer in terms of pi. To find the area of a circle, we do pi times radius squared. Or we can rewrite that same formula in a more expanded way by writing pi times radius, because this exponent means two radiuses timesing together. Looks like our radius is 2, so let's plug that into the equation. 2 times itself twice times pi. Pi times 2 times itself, 2. Now this question wants us to type the exact answer in terms of pi. When we multiply a number by pi, we have to round, right? For all the questions we multiply by pi, we have to round, meaning we're not getting an exact answer. When you round, your answer is not exact. This question wants an exact answer, which means we can't round. So we are going to multiply all our other numbers and put that in front of pi. So we're going to do all the normal steps, but not multiply it with pi. So 2 to the power of 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So our answer is 4 pi. 4, then the pi button, check. All right. If you need more help with this question, please let me know. I love to help. Good luck and goodbye.